Today in E-Z-MRP, we are going to talk about sales order 12400. As you can see, this sales order is in a firm order status. The promise date is January 6th, and it's for AMFO Corporation. On the detail side of the work order, you can see on line 1, we are going to build them 200 subassembly 1s, which is a black box, and 100 subassembly 2s, which are white box, and then we are going to build them 10 widgets. Both subassembly 1 and subassembly 2 are subcomponents of the widget. The reason why I'm showing you this is just to show you the diversity of how E-Z-MRP will schedule your builds to fulfill this order. So once you build your sales order, you're going to go ahead and post it to your demand side in material planning. So we go into material planning. We have our demand side, which is where we posted those orders to. And then from the demand side, we are going to create work orders, which you'll see are built into the supply side. So we go to SA subassembly 1, and we go down to our work order 12400. You see it right here. It's actually to be built today, which is December 23rd, 2020. And there's a slash in front of the WO. That indicates that this is a subcomponent of another build. And it is for SO 12400, line 3. We are building 20. And we released 20. When you release 20 in here, right here, as soon as you release that 20, it's going to draw down all of the subassemblies and components of that single level subassembly 1 of the widget bill of materials. And as you can see down here, on January 6th, we have another work order SO 12400, line 1, which, remember, back in the sales order, line 1, we were going to sell that. We are building them actual subassembly 1s. So as you can see, it's telling us to have the subassembly SA1s available built by December 23rd, and we need to have the top level subassemblies for line 1 completed by January 6th, which is our ship date. And as you can see, I have 200 planned, but so far I have 0 released and 0 completed. If we look at SA2, which is the other subassembly, you will find the same situation. Come down here to January 23rd, which is today. You'll see that there is a dash, backslash in front of the WO with the work order that indicates that it is a subassembly. We have 10 planned and we have 10 released to the shop floor. And if you look down here on January 6th, that 400, you'll see on line 2 that we have 100 planned. But yeah, we haven't released them because we don't have to start that build just yet. So that's it, going from the demand side to the supply side. Now, in our plan, we want to take a look at our, how do we know we have enough product here for this build? Very easy. If I go to my buy report, and we'll just bring up our buy report here real quick. And you'll see for component 2 takes a mirror on December 10th would be, if we did not have enough mirrors in stock, we would have had to have placed this order by December 10th so that we would have those in-house today, which is December 23rd. And it tells you the quantity we require, what our work order is, and it's being supplied by inventory. And notice on January 4th, we have an order of 16 coming in, 1,600 coming in on purchase order 2540, line 2. So within the buy report is going to show you all of your outstanding purchase orders. So this is our procurement plan for the Comp 2 mirrors. And as you can see right here, the work order 12400 for line 1 is going to consume 1200 of these mirrors on January 4th. So that's a future consumption of raw material. And down here, you'll see that there is an action item. And what it's telling us is by January 24th, we need to place an order, which January 24th is tomorrow. We need to place an order for 1,800 of these mirrors. And these mirrors need to be in by January 14th so that we have enough of this raw material on hand for sales order 12409, line 1. So that's just a quick overview of how the buy report works. And on the make report, how do we know when we need to start making? So I'm going to take the black box subassembly 1 as an example. The reason why I know I need to build this today, because in my make report it says you need to start building on the 23rd and it needs to be completed on the 23rd for a quantity of 20. And it shows that this is a subassembly for 12400 line 3. So this is going into the widget. That's why it's due today and not on January 6th when we actually ship the order, because we want to know when does it need to be completed in time to go into the next level of the bill of materials. And then it shows us our quantity remaining. So we started out with the quantity of 14 on hand. We built 20. So now we'll have completed, as soon as that work order is completed, we'll have 34 on hand. Then we are going to build 40 more today. And that's on work order SO 12403 line 3. When we're done with that order, we'll have 74 on hand. And this goes so on and so forth with all the sub-assemblies like the SA2. That's to be done today, completed today for 10 of them. It's a sub-assembly of line 3 of sales order 12400. And when we're done building, we'll have a total quantity of 12. And as you can see right here, we have another action item right here, which tells us that we are going to be out of these sub-assemblies tomorrow when we start work order 12403 line 3. So we're going to have to get that order onto the shop floor tomorrow so that we are sure to fulfill that order. So now in E-Z-MRP, we can, if you want the shop floor management system, if you're in the shop floor management, or if you do have it, you'll see here, this is a display that is displaying out on our shop floor, and it shows our orders that we are actually working on currently. So we have work order SO 12400 for SA1 line 3, which is a subassembly of the widget, and it is due to be completed on the 23rd. And its elapsed time is 216 minutes. Percentage to completion is 206. So we're a bit on our time. So anyway, it shows your lapse times. And right here, we also track any kind of downtime or servicing of our equipment. So anyhow, I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds of what the display does. However, if you want to see what's going on in E-Z-MRP in a visual display of what all work orders on the shop floor, then you're going to use the shop floor management system along with E-Z-MRP. So we'll go back to E-Z-MRP, and we're here on our supply side, just showing all the parts that have been released to the shop floor and being worked on. So when these components are complete, we would go right into shop floor. We would find our date, find our order, and then we would go ahead and complete it. So we'll just go ahead and complete these SA2s, white boxes. We hit complete on it, and it's going to create audit record. Anytime you perform a transaction in E-Z-MRP, you're going to get an audit record. It's going to show you when it occurred and who the user is. And at this point, if you like, you can assign a lot number or serial number to the completed subassemblies, and you can assign it to a targeted location. And it shows your actual cost, and it shows your total actual cost. So what it did is the exact quantity was 10. Our old balance was 2. So our new balance is 12. So we have a record of that occurring. Now, once all of your transactions are done, if you are using QuickBooks, you can go to your QuickBooks interface. And the interface is your item list, your vendor list, customer list, sales orders. So if I go into my sales orders, and we'll just go to our sales order right here, we'll just go to 12,400. And as you can see, I have 3 right here. Shows our SA1, our SA2s, and our widgets. So this sales order has been replicated, created in QuickBooks. Now, some of our customers, they don't do a sales order. What they do is they'll convert this straight over to QuickBooks, and QuickBooks will create from this data the invoices. And if I go, or so sometime, well, actually, let me repeat this. Or backtrack a little bit. These are the sales orders. You can replicate these into QuickBooks or not. It's the sales order shipments that get invoiced into QuickBooks. So if I go in to my sales order, when all the work is done, I'll go into SO 12400. And I pull up my packing list, and right here's my 200, 100, and 1000. I will go ahead and hit ship. Now, I'm not shipping them today. I'll be shipping them on January 6th. But when I do ship them on January 6th, they will appear in my QuickBooks sales order shipments right here. So, and I believe I did ship earlier today. So we'll go by our date. And as you can see, I did ship sales order 12,399 line 3, sales order 12,399 line 2, and sales order 12,399 line 1. Those were actually shipped early this morning to Feather Company. So what I would do is I would export those tables out to a flat file. Then I would go into into my QuickBooks, and I would reach out and grab that flat file, bring it into QuickBooks, and it would create those invoices for me. That's a manual process. There is another process. We do have a direct interface that'll take this data and drop it right into QuickBooks. So when you go into QuickBooks, you'll see an invoice for all 3 of those lines on sales order 12,399 line 2. So that was just a brief overview of taking a sales order to material planning, and from material planning to production, and then completing that production, and then sending that data over to QuickBooks. On another scenario or on another video, we'll do one on purchase orders and purchase order receipts.